Welcome back, everyone. Toyshiz here, and are you ready to have a foursome on my YouTube channel? Thanks to McFarlane Toys for sending these over to give you guys a fresh look. We're totally checking out the brand new DC Multiverse Arkham Origins Deathstroke and Arkham Knight Batman, along with each of their gold counterparts, which is cool. Personally, the gold ones, you know, we'll talk more about that in the video, but I gotta say, the Arkham Knight Batman, he looks pretty stellar. I'm liking this a lot. Certain black accents on both the gold figures this time around, so I'm definitely interested in checking that out. As far as the packaging goes, they're both exactly the same. Sometimes, even on the barcode, they'll kind of differentiate it between the names. It's actually the same, so it is really that if you find it on store shelves, it's Deathstroke, gold or otherwise, Batman, gold or otherwise. And if you order from Amazon, yeah, you have the potential of getting the gold one, yada yada. Same kind of deal. You get the trading card art that transfers over to the back of the packaging, the cross sells, the video game artwork, of which I still need to play both of these games. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Deathstroke from Arkham Origins and Batman from Arkham Knight. And here's all four figures out of the packaging, and like I said, the gold ones are okay, but I think the money really is in the colorful ones, even though each of the gold will net you $10,000. Not a chance at all. But they're both cool looking. I think they translate well to the gold, again, which we'll talk about. The trading cards are nice. I've had a nice collection of those going within my old trading card binder, so I appreciate those. Now it's become like a thing. You can screen grab these if you want to check out each of the bios for both Deathstroke and Batman, both of which are at the same height. Hopefully the scaling goes well. And ooh, look at this. The trading cards that come with the gold ones are all fancy lenticular, right? Just to add that extra right there. That's where the 10,000 really is. These are both nice figures. The gold is nice. I really like that they put black to kind of accent certain areas, but each of them only has one. Batman's got the bat symbol. Deathstroke has the half of his face in black. So more black, I think, would have been cool, just to kind of, it would just give a little brevity, I think, to the actual figures, whereas they're just all gold. It doesn't take away from the fact that they are painted nicely, they're sculpted nicely, certain elements come out when they're all one solid color. The capes, the backsides, it all looks nice. You really have to decide, do you want an all gold figure? What do you do with it? How do you display it? If you have a whole row of gold figures, yeah, that's one thing. But let's start off with the Deathstroke figure first. As you can see, between the gold and the color, exact same figure, but the color, I mean, why wouldn't you want the color one? It just looks better, it looks cool, and it fits with your action figure collection. He looks really nice. I wouldn't say that he's exactly spot on to the game. He's more of that orange, goldish type color, whereas I like to look at Deathstroke in terms of his original costume. That's the ideal look. Yes, I haven't played the game, but I think this figure, this character, looks cool in the updated video game armor. He's got lots of sculpting detail, lots of paint, all the body armor, all the Kevlar, pouches, everything looks good. The lack of weapons, though, is really where it gets you, and he totally Jason Todds you by having weapons that are glued in and sculpted in, basically. So, while all the articulation is okay, which we'll look at, which, I mean, I like this little part right here. This is a different color. It's a much more Deathstroke orange than the rest. Not to say it looks bad, but I guess it feels kind of out of place. This part right here is where the figure kind of goes, wait a minute, is this kind of complete, or is this wrong, or something? It's in his sword sheath. You can see the sword on one side when you put it in. See, right through. So there's nothing sheath-y about it. And you can pull the whole thing off of his back. It does have a peg where it fits in. It also slips into that little back piece right there. But I don't like the fact that you can see the sword. Plus, slipping it in and out all the time is going to kind of chew up the paint on the sword. I'm just saying. The sword is painted nicely. It's got silver. It's got a black handle. It's sculpted nicely. It looks great. As far as I've seen from the photos, yeah, it looks like it's straight out of the video game. But as you can see, yeah, the back, the paint, the sculpting details, it goes all the way around the figure. It's nice. They don't skimp on it in any way. articulation-wise. You do get some nice momentum out of the head. I like that he can look down, and he can look fairly well up, a lot more than I think a lot of the more recent figures have been able to. He's kind of got a slit on the back of his collar, kind of lets him, just look up. He's got some really nice ball joints in the arms. He's got butterflies. The armor works with him. He's also got some double jointed elbows, and the wrists are okay. Now, this is a point of the figure where I say, the ball joints goes either way, but I think they look good as far as the wrists go. He's got a semblance of an ab crunch. I think it's good. It's within the more vinyl piece that's there. He goes back about that much, and he will twist at the waist as well. The legs are okay. He's got that rubbery crotch piece that will work with the figure, so you can put him sitting down if you really wanted to. In the back, though, you'll see that where you kind of go to fold the legs back into place, it will hit that rubber piece and kind of fold his butt into it. You just kind of have to augment it, fix it a little bit, kind of put his butt back into place. Double jointed knees, which are okay. Nothing at the thigh, nothing at the calf. He does have toe articulation with the correct pins. The ankles rock to and fro. The armor really doesn't get in the way, so it's nice. It just kind of extends the foot a little bit, but it works because the armor would be hindering it if you didn't have that. It's not the best, but it's okay. The butterflies work good. I think he looks really good, but not necessarily the articulation is all there for me, we'll say. As far as Batman goes, while I'm not a huge fan of seeing pupils in a Batman kind of thing, I like the solid white eyes, this does look like it stepped right out of the video game. He looks like he's wearing a muscular suit of armor. He's all souped up, very video gamed out, lots of detail, lots of deco, lots of paint on this guy. He looks great. He's got that McFarlane cape, very Spawnish, all the folds. It looks like a big, heavy cape. It looks like a Batman cape, very dynamic, a lot of character, a lot of detail into it, and it looks great. He comes with several accessories, a batarang, what I'm assuming is the goo that you spray and it explodes, that type of thing. And then, like the charger, is that what it is? Something to that degree, if I remember from older games, if it's the same. But if it's not, I'm sure you'll let me know. The batarang has a little paint on it. The other weapons could have definitely benefited from some gunmetal shading, something like that. I think that would have made it pop a little bit more, because otherwise they're just flat black. However, he does hold them well. He does have trigger finger hands on both sides. This is where I think that extra hands would come into play. For Batman, you need punching hands. And I think that, yeah, it's nice that he can hold stuff. Yeah, you can have him doing stuff. The batarang looks great when he holds it. These weapons look great when he holds it. But this is the type of figure that, yeah, some extra hands would have really just put it over the top. Just in terms of posing and having it be more Batman-ish, if you know what I mean. But the articulation on him, I think, is a lot better than Deathstroke. I think you get a little bit more momentum, a little bit more articulation out of him, especially in the head. He can look down, left, right. He does look up, which is great, so that's good. Batman always needs to be able to look up, move his head. He looks down, so that's cool as well. And of course, yeah, left and right. The rubbery piece of the collar works with the head, so that's cool. It's not this hard plastic. He, too, has butterfly joints, which work well, especially with the armor. And he also has a bicep swivel. Again, the armor really doesn't get in the way, which is nice, just the way it's designed, the way it's situated. So you're not having to fuddle with it. Plus, it's rubbery, so it also works when you move him around. Double jointed elbows. He's got some wrist rotation. The ball joints are hidden better on this. I appreciate that. Waist, he's got a little bit of an ab crunch. He'll go down about that much. He'll go back a lot more, and he will twist at the waist. The cape, really nice. Again, on the underside, you can see all the paint. Everything goes every which way, from the gold belt down to his legs, his boots. You can do the splits, because why not? But, it just adds for that movement. I'd rather him have it than not. I think that the crotch piece works better. The folds don't get into the way of, let's say, Deathstroke. Double jointed knees, nothing at the thigh, nothing at the calf. Ball joints, his ball jointed feet are a pain. Standing this guy can be a pain. He's also got toe articulation. The cape sort of helps him stand in some aspects, but it's standing him. You need the stand, basically, for both of these figures, to be quite honest with you, more so with Batman. Scaling-wise, I think they're great. They're both around the same height. If you put them with other figures that you want to display them with, not necessarily from the video game. I think the new Red Hood, Jason Todd, he scales well with this Batman. He's far enough, like, he's more video game-ish to me. You know, he's not like, he looks like the artistry of these two video games. So in that sense, yeah, I think he fits in the realm of these, whereas Thomas Wayne, he's a little bit too small. I don't think he fits. He's more comic booky. He's got comic book tendencies, paint, face, everything else. When you look at, let's say, the older Arkham Asylum Batman, and by older, I mean like a couple months back, this one is a more realistic spot on, and you saw how Rocksteady kind of got older and improved. The original Arkham kind of looks cartoony in the face. But if you're looking in terms of how to pair up Deathstroke with prior Batmans that have come out, the Batman 1000 doesn't look too bad with him, especially in terms of height. The Capullo Batman from the Merciless Wave, a little bit taller than Deathstroke, but I think it works. But then it's kind of the Thomas Wayne situation, more comic booky for this Batman, more video game for Deathstroke. And if you look at older figures, let's say the Kenner Bane, I think he looks cool. I mean, I know the other Bane is coming out. That's more of the Last Night on Earth Bane. But this Bane, I mean, you gotta do Nightfall Bane eventually, right? This looks awesome. I just wanted to show off this Bane, let's be honest. But really, I would say this. The gold ones are nice if you really want them, but they're not absolutely detrimental to your collection. I'm still trying to figure out how they're gonna go. I have the Joker one. I also have another Batman, which we will talk about in a different video. The Deathstroke, the Arkham Knight, they're fun to have, but I would say these are kind of a pass unless you really want a gold figure. I think that when it comes to the actual colorized Batman and Deathstroke, Deathstroke has a lot of issues where I'm like, ugh, I don't like the non-removable guns. I think the big thing with Deathstroke is that you need to load him up with weapons and guns and everything else, and I think that this figure is severely lacking. His sword, the sheath, is weird. That's not to say that he's a bad figure. He stands well, he displays well, he looks good. So in that sense, I recommend him. But knowing these things going in, that's your decision on whether you could be okay with it. For me, that's a lot more weapons would have made up for some of those wonky things. As far as the Arkham Knight Batman, I think this is a home run figure. I think he looks like he stepped right out of the video games. He poses well, he displays well. He doesn't stand the best, so you're going to need stands with this guy. But he holds his weapon nicely. The weapons could have used a little bit more deco to them, but it's not a bad thing. Extra hands would have been nice. Punching hands, something to that degree, just to make him, when you want to pose him, especially if you're battling Deathstroke, you want to punch the heck out of Deathstroke. That's all I'm going to say. Golds, they're going to go either way. Deathstroke, I recommend him in the sense if you're okay with some wonkiness. He displays well. He looks nice. Batman Arkham Knight, hands down, grab that figure. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Comment below. Let me know. Let's talk everything Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins, all that stuff. And thank you again to McFarlane Toys for sending these out to give you guys a fresh look. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food. But most importantly, remember, if I play Arkham Knight eventually, I just hope there's none of that going around with the Riddler stuff and breaking the Joker's teeth. And you know what? I'm going to go back and play those games. Those are fun games. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.